Hello everyone, Niget here, and welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today's video comes from a tournament that was played this last Saturday called the $500 Praise Harstem Littlewargame Tournament. It was hosted by Etano Circus, and this match is currently the second game of a best of three between Sqrtofneg1, playing with the red pieces, in the top right corner of Stream Junction, versus his opponent, Guinness, playing with the blue pieces in the bottom left corner, again of Stream Junction. I was able to cast the first game of this on stream with Etano Circus as well as Slammer4. And if you are curious about watching the rest of the stream to see my commentary as well as their commentary, including Aicy, he later joined us, you can go on Twitch or find Etano Circus's post on the Discord where he posted the live stream. And again, I was part of that live stream. I casted this first game with them, and so the commentary that was discussed during that game is also on this channel, so you'll get the chance to see it. But I decided to go ahead and individually cast these next two games. So I have seen them before, but they will be good refreshers for me, as there may have been some details that I've forgotten about this game. If you remember the game or the matches between Guinness and Aicy, you'll have noticed that Guinness just came out of a game where he played against a similar style to Aicy's, specifically that Raider opening on Ravaged, and similar to that first game he played against Aicy, he also lost against Square Root's Raiders. So very interesting opening that we see here. It's a very standard castle first opening. In case you didn't notice something in this build order, Square Root decided to cut one worker so that he could get this faster castle, which in turn let him build this barracks just about 50 gold faster than what would normally be done on this map. It makes sense because he's decided to go for a barracks opening, where if you normally do a fast expand, you normally go for 2 den. The reason being is that the dens are the fastest building tier 1 production unit in the game, specifically for military units, and the barracks takes a little bit longer. So by building this castle a little bit faster, the timing to get this barracks goes down just a little bit sooner. So it's good adjustment to see from Square Root. It's definitely very creative, as the standard for this map is to go for what Guinness went for, which is this house into castle. However, the follow-up to what Guinness has done, it might not be the most standard thing in the world. So we do see that Guinness is getting wolves. We also see that Guinness is going for a castle. So he really appreciates the 2 base tech options that are available to him. At the same time, we see that Guinness is trying to get around Square Root's base. He's basically trying to get some information, get this wolf into Square Root's base, potentially scouting a tech option, but he does see that Square Root decided to go for a 4th base, which will allow Guinness some information about what he wants to do next. We'll just kind of have to watch out and see if he decides to potentially save up some money. It does look like he's sending out these wolves and this worker to the 3rd base location to try to match Square Root's economy decision that he's gone for. So again, really large map. As this RAX player, or as the RAX opening on this large map, you kind of have the freedom to go for a 3rd base without risking too much danger from a beast player, especially as it takes a really long time for these wolves to get to the other side of the map, even though they are very quick and they produce very quickly. These reinforcing raiders are going to be more than enough to keep Square Root safe. At the same time, I kind of want to see if Square Root has gone forward in terms of vision, and as we can see, Square Root has not progressed his vision past his side of the map. So he's going to be completely blind in terms of what his opponent is going for. He kind of is going to send these guys over to the other side of the map basically to get some scouting information, and I applaud him for it. He definitely needs to get the scouting information. At the same time, Guinness moving these those wolves, not werewolves, but rather just wolves, around to the other side of the map. I think he's trying to get some scouting information of his own. He wants to make sure that this castle did in fact finish, and wants to see some additional information from that point on. Square root on the other side of the map with these raiders, trying to get some information. Again, just tremendous amount of micro from these raiders. If you notice from that first game, Square Root was able to get a lot of value from the raider micro. However, deciding to follow up with archers here. So he is going into an entirely archer-based follow-up, getting 4 RAX, so just 4 barracks so far. And from this point on, we should be seeing some sort of tech option. I think he's going to try to get as much scouting as he possibly can. Basically to just know what his opponent is doing, know where his opponent is at in terms of tech, and then he'll probably make a decision from there. As far as we can see from the production tab here, Guinness has started dragon production, and I'm going to go ahead and put this vision back on neutral so that we can take a look at this dragon. So Fortress did finish up, dragon layers do come down, and now we do see that this first dragon is up. We'll see follow-up dragons from this point on. Again, as I was mentioning, Square Root on 4 barracks. Now he's adding on a 5th. If he gets a 6th, he's pretty much going to be going for a 6 RAX push. This wolf does get in. I kind of want to see what Guinness got on this scout, and he got a lot. So he got all the information he needed from this scout. Was able to kill that one worker, very low HP worker in Square Root's main base. And now Square Root has seen the dragons. Guinness decided to use the dragons in order to scout around and find out what tech, in order to push back these raiders specifically. So Guinness pushes back the raiders with his dragons, and then he decides to move on to the other side of the map. Neither Guinness nor Square realizing that both of their armies just kind of move past each other. Now they both meet each other in the center of the map here. Square with the raider advantage, so he's going to be able to pick off these wolves here. Gets a nice surround, actually. Is able to do a lot of damage here. Guinness responds with bringing back his dragons, bringing back his wolves. And now at the same time, on the other side of the map, Square Root decides to push forward with these archers. It's not too many archers. I don't know if this is supposed to get a lot of damage, but it is definitely supposed to be a little bit of a pressure push. Definitely trying to punish Guinness for moving on to the other side of the map with his army if he decided to do so. Guinness pulling back all of his army actually to try to deal with these archers, and wolves trade really efficiently into archers, but they don't really have the best engagements into archers, especially if you can avoid the surrounds, especially if you can get situations where you have archers in the middle of this that aren't being attacked. Square Root was targeting this dragon, and he does kill the dragon that Guinness had here, so definitely a very strong push from Square Root here. Guinness having to pull workers to try to defend against this. Square Root kiting as well as he can. He even has a soldier here to block these wolves from attacking directly into the archers, but now that the soldier is gone, these wolves do get on top of the archers there. Guinness looks like he decided to tech into catapults. Catapults being a fantastic unit to have, especially against mass archers, as they normally outrange the archers unless archers get that range upgrade. But catapults with 10 range versus the archers, I believe 5 range currently. So Square Root deciding to commit onto this catapult, workers on auto repair, but just not enough to out repair the damage that these archers are going for. Square Root getting a lot of damage here with these with this push here, is able to kill a lot of wolves, but now these archers here towards the top of the engagement are getting pressured by these dragons. Square Root kind of needs to make sure he's grouping his archers together. That way Guinness doesn't get a advantageous fight in detail. Square, like I mentioned, starting to group up these archers, bringing some soldiers along to try to tank against these against these wolves. Guinness teching, so much tech from Guinness. These dragons, this werewolf den, this workshop. So Guinness playing a very tech-heavy style, trying to get as many of these useful units together to try to defend against a push like this. Whereas Sqrtofneg1 is deciding to get a advanced workshop against these dragons and just going for a very simple 5 RAX play here, where he just continuously builds off of 5 RAXs and just pushes against his opponent, and it's playing off really well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the income. That's right. So Sqrtofneg1 having the ability to push against his opponent basically has stopped Guinness from taking income at his third base, and that is going to leave Sqrtofneg1 with a very solid income advantage. Definitely needs to make sure that he's producing more archers, especially as the dragons are starting to outnumber these archers. And if it happens that these archers die and these dragons are still on the map, then Sqrtofneg1 is going to lose all of these soldiers for free. Werewolf does come over. Sqrtofneg1 needs to make sure that he is not going to get his archers damaged by this werewolf, because werewolves do a tremendous amount of damage and archers do not have the most amount of HP. These soldiers coming in will do a good amount of damage against this werewolf. Very good frontline units, but it looks like Guinness was able to hold off this push. I don't even know if Sqrtofneg1 was trying to end the game here with this push. I think he was just trying to go for a little bit of pressure. And as we can see, Guinness went for a heavy tech opening, which didn't let him have as many units ready to defend. And as a result, we see that Sqrtofneg1 is definitely ahead in terms of income. Both players losing about 3,000 gold in terms of combat units being lost in the game. But Sqrtofneg1 is having mined about 2,000 more gold over his opponent, which is a tremendous amount of gold. Allows you to get things like this advanced workshop, allows you to continuously produce on these 5 barracks, which is a good amount of barracks, especially on 3 castles here. Typically, just a little bit of a tip for some newer players in case they're curious, you typically want at least 2 production buildings per castle that you have. So in this case, we do see that Sqrtofneg1 went for an additional castle, and so he has, I believe, 6 barracks now plus this advanced workshop. So definitely producing a lot of units here, especially with this ballista here. It's going to be able to keep these dragons back a tremendous amount. We even see that this this 4th base from Sqrtofneg1 has this watchtower, so he is going to be able to defend against these dragon run-bys. Watchtower in the main base, hold position micro, so these workers here in this main base, they are in hold position. The reason being is that these dragons do splash damage that would damage all the workers that are mining in close proximity of this gold base. And as a result, Sqrtofneg1 with the good amount of micro, putting these workers on hold position, and then he should be putting them back to mining very soon. Guinness, realizing that he's been countered by his opponent in terms of tech, having lost too many resources, realized that he is out of the game and decides to GG, which I believe concludes the best of 3 match between Sqrtofneg1 and Guinness. So Sqrtofneg1 will be the player who moves on to the next match in this tournament, playing in grand finals against WeirdRat. So it'll be very exciting to see. If we look at the bracket, earlier in the tournament, Sqrtofneg1 was knocked down to the losers bracket by WeirdRat, and so it'll be the rematch in grand finals to see who will come out ahead. Will WeirdRat take the tournament, or will Sqrtofneg1 force a bracket reset and try to challenge WeirdRat in this grand finals of the Etano Circus $500 Praise Harstem Littlewargame Tournament? that was played in the past year. So very exciting to see as far as timelines go. Sqrtofneg1, very strong player, going for a very strong push on Stream Junction, a very large map at the same time. And be very curious to see what happens in this next series. If you enjoyed watching this video, appreciate having your like in the bottom. And if you want to continue watching Littlewargame content, I'd recommend that you subscribe to my channel so that you can see whenever I come out with some guides as well as whenever I post replays. In that case, looking forward to the next video. Hopefully I'll see you there.